think the Western response in terms of sanctions has been rather tepid, and I think I would like to see us go much further to impose much more serious costs on Russia for this aggression. I would like to see things like a banning of the sale of Russian sovereign debt, for example. I think if Russia is going to violate the rules of the international system, I think it needs to be deprived of the privileges of the international system. If you want to behave like North Korea, then you can be North Korea. I think we should be focusing on things like potentially export bans, and I think we should be thinking about things as severe as possibly maybe even a SWIFT ban. So I do not think the Western response to the aggression in Ukraine has been strong enough. I think it needs to be much more robust. I don't think Nord Stream 2 is necessary. I think there's other routes of energy that can come to Europe, certainly through Ukraine. We have LNG terminals being put online in Lithuania and in Poland and elsewhere. So I think Nord Stream 2, certainly from the Russian perspective, is effectively a political project. It's not just going to pump gas into Europe, it's going to pump networks of influence and potentially corruption into Europe. So I think we need to be very, very, very wary of that. Certainly I do not think that Nord Stream 2 is the only way to supply energy to Europe. This is a myth that the Russians are trying to perpetuate, and I think it's false. I think the threat of Russian fake news is serious, but I think it's important that we not look at the threat of fake news in isolation. Disinformation is but one part of a broader Russian toolkit called malign influence. And this involves things like weaponized corruption, weaponized organized crime, weaponized finance, camouflaged Russian investments. And all of this operates within an ecosystem. And that fake news is just one part of this ecosystem. And I think we should be very careful about just fetishizing and focusing on this one aspect of the toolkit where we're effectively playing whack-a-mole against Russian disinformation narratives and effectively playing the Kremlin's game. We need to broaden the aperture and look at the whole ecosystem.